CBS Chicago on November 15th and the Chicago Tribune on November 14th reported that just 16 of the more than 5,000 people arrested by ICE in Chicago have been identified by Trump's Department of Justice as being, quote, high public safety risks, unquote. 16 out of more than 5,000 arrested are considered high public safety risks by the Department of Justice, which under Trump has turned into high public safety risk number one. Not a single one of the 5,000 seized by ICE in Chicago was wanted for or convicted of murder or rape. Not a single one, which is more than can be said of the people working inside the White House. Then there's that high-profile raid on a Chicago apartment complex in September that resulted in 0 charges. You might remember on September 30th, 2025, there was a federal immigration raid on a 5-story apartment building on Chicago's South Shore. I hope you remember because you paid for it. 300 heavily armed federal agents from ICE, the FBI, and ATF stormed this building, some rappelling from Black Hawk helicopters, firing flash grenades, kicking open doors, dragging children who were U.S. citizens out into the streets, zip-tying these children, forcing them to sit cuffed on the street while suspected members of Tren de Aragua were rounded up. That's the Venezuelan gang Trump claims in an executive order is waging war on the United States. They were rounding up Tren de Aragua. 37 people arrested that night, mostly without warrants, dragged to an ICE detention facility in Broadville, Illinois, out in the suburbs of Chicago. It was, as Chicago's mayor, Brandon Johnson, said, police state spectacle, resulting in 0 convictions. Everybody remembers the scene of the raid. No follow-up. Nobody remembers the follow-up. 0 convictions. None of the people in that building, none of the people they arrested were criminals or members of Tren de Aragua or members of a gang. As with everything Trump does, it's all a lie. But the Department of Homeland Security insisted while the arrests were being made, these are all criminals, terrorists, drug dealers. The worst of the worst. We're getting killers off the street. No. These cowards from ICE, all they did that night was get to play dress up, rappelling from Black Hawk helicopters, firing flash grenades, pointing assault weapons, getting to play cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians, getting to play war without any of the real life consequences. You get shot, you count to 10 Mississippi, and get right back up. Since Trump returned to the Oval Office, we have a record number of immigrants detained, primarily in for-profit jails. 65,000 locked up right now. Thanks to one big beautiful bill, ICE now has $45 billion to hand over to the for-profit detention industry to build facilities to house 232,000 immigrants by 2027. So right now we have 65,000 locked up. By 2027, in 2 years, we're set to lock up 232,000 immigrants, even though border crossings are at an all-time low. But that doesn't matter. If you build it, they will fill it up. They will find a way to detain somebody. The money has been allocated to build 232,000 cells. Not cells, just for-profit detention centers that can accommodate 232,000 immigrants instead of the 65,000 we have locked up right now. Actually, we're only equipped to lock up about 40,000 immigrants, but we're keeping 65,000. You spend $45 billion on new for-profit detention facilities, they will find a way to fill them. Doesn't matter. Canadian tourists, homeless citizens, drug addicts who are citizens, people accidentally taken even though they are citizens, they'll fill those prisons. These for-profit detention facilities right now slow walk the release of people who were accidentally taken. because they want to rack up billable hours. There was a Canadian wellness influencer with no criminal record. She was held for weeks, sometimes in solitary, even though her paperwork was in order. She wrote about this in The Guardian, and she concluded that these for-profit detention facilities this year just kept moving her around, purposely losing her body in the maze of bureaucracy, because she said the longer she was detained, the more money these for-profit detention centers could get paid. Tricia McLaughlin, the spokeswoman for the Department of Homeland Security, says more than 70% of the 65,000 people being detained right now nationwide are criminals. She's a liar. According to the conservative Cato Institute, as well as Atlantic Magazine and several other trusted sources, nearly 75% of the people currently held have zero criminal records. Zero criminal records here in the United States or their countries of origin. The 25% who have some kind of record, well, they were arrested for minor infractions, like traffic violations. It's estimated that maybe 5% of the entire population of immigrants being held primarily in these for-profit detention centers, about 5% have what are considered some kind of serious criminal charges. Not convictions, charges. Not convictions, charges. Remember, if they were really serious, they'd be turned over to local police for prosecution, not held inside a for-profit ICE detention center. I cannot stress this enough. There are no dangerous criminals awaiting trial being held inside an ICE detention facility. If ICE accidentally arrests a criminal after they're done crapping their pants, because ICE agents don't know how to arrest a real criminal, but if they accidentally, inadvertently arrest a real criminal, that criminal is immediately turned over to state or local police to be prosecuted. Because ICE agents are not trained. Their for-profit detention centers are not equipped to handle real criminals. ICE is for men and women to work when they can't get hired by anybody else, especially local police departments, like this pathetic loser, Dean Cain, the actor. He's an ICE agent. That's everything you need to know about ICE. When your luck completely runs out, when you're stupid, like Dean Cain, you join ICE. So you get to play dress up, like their boss, Kristi Noem. They get to wear these cool-looking outfits, brandishing assault weapons and bulletproof vests. And people who don't know any better look at these ICE agents and think they're law enforcement. They're not. But they get to use military-style hand gestures, like in the movies. They play act SWAT teams, popping out of minivans looking like soccer moms off their meds. They're not tough. They're sadistic cowards. They have no idea how to arrest a real violent criminal, which is why if you so much as touch an ICE agent, you're charged with assault. You put a finger on an ICE agent accidentally, you're charged with assault. In May, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, who represents parts of Newark, New Jersey, was trying to inspect the for-profit Delaney Hall detention facility in Newark, New Jersey, run by Geo Group. When she was pushed into an ICE agent, she was immediately charged with 2 felony counts of assaulting a federal officer, and that trial begins next year. The ICE agent didn't require any medical attention, but he was touched by the Congresswoman, and because ICE agents are delicate flowers, if you so much as touch one, it's criminal assault.